Hey guys, every now and then I get interesting requests, and one that I got recently was, how can I take your kits and use two of them to make a 3-chamber house? And I got to thinking about that, and I believe I have a plan together here. I'm going to show it to you. You're welcome to get a couple of our kits and try it yourself. To do it, the first thing you're going to need are 2 of our kits assembled per the instructions. Leave the bat off of one of them. So now we have the 2 kits here. You're going to need to go to a store and pick up a 1x2 that's 8 feet long. A little bit of excess out of that, but 1x2 by 8. You're going to need some kind of a saw, and the hand saw will work fine because we're going to use it for a couple of things, not just sawing. You'll need some 1 1/4 weatherproof screws. You'll need some at least 2.5 inch, 3 inch would probably be fine, but some 2.5 inch weatherproof screws, an 1.5 inch paddle drill bit. You'll need a drill. I have 2 here. I'm going to cheat and use both of them. But you'll need a drill with a Phillips driver bit on it. You will need a drill with some kind of a countersink bit, or just a countersink bit and swap it over. The one that came with your kit should work fine. And you'll need some type of a caulk. If you don't go with the adhesive sealant, you can go with a good exterior paintable latex caulk. That's all the components that you're going to need, so I'm going to start putting the house together here. First thing we're going to need to do is cut our sides here. And what I'll do is I'll get rid of this house for the moment. This will be the house on the back. This will be the rear chamber. And to kind of sort of measure this, all I'm going to do is actually just lay the house up here, sheet everywhere we can, and this will give me the angle that I need to cut at, close enough. And then I can pull that up underneath a little bit. I'm looking at the mark here to the inside of the roof, and it needs to be cut somewhere around about there. Doesn't have to be exact. I'm trying to use a few tools. I try not to use all of my cheats that I'm fortunate to have in a shop. But I don't even know if I remember how these work. And I think you hold them, what, this way? Is that? Well, there it is. You hold it back here. And Henry, I am going to cheat and use my bench clamp too. But you can put it on sawhorses, have someone hold it, but the helper that I have right now is behind the camera. So clamp this in the bench clamp there. Then we will cut this at that angle. As you do finish cutting through, you need to lighten up on the pressure on the saw, not bear on it so heavy or you'll split the back out. You should, again, let the saw, if you've not used one of these, let the saw do the work for you. And that last cut was very, very lightweight. I was actually lifting on the saw slightly to make sure that I didn't force it past and split the back out. Now, we go to our next mark here. Again, we'll clamp it down in the vise, tighten it down, and get our power saw. Take this. You're going to get sawdust in your hair, Henry. Don't be eating the blocks of wood that fall on the floor, boy. You'll chew on anything. You will. You'll chew on anything. Give me that back. Give it back. Thank you. you don't need that. There we go. Now we have this one. We need to cut one for the other side. Now our chambers are 3/4 of an inch in size. Turns out if you get a 1x, the nominal thickness is about 3/4 of an inch. It should be exactly 3/4. So this will give us our 3/4 inch chamber. Now, through the magic of symmetry, this piece will actually double as a template for the other side. And we make those same cuts again. And there we go. Pull this around. There we go. Now, we need to get this one out of the clamp here. What we can do is go ahead and actually put these on the house. We will do that. So we'll add a little bit of caulk. Make sure we got enough at the top. Squeeze out. And my daughter, who has apparently forgotten that I'm doing a video, is over here wrestling with the dog. Henry, give me the block of wood. Come here. Give me the block. Thank you. Not that one either. Our dog is trying to eat the fall off pine. And we'll go here. Now, on the kits especially, you'll notice that it's just a small piece of plywood that's been machined to make the sides. So when you do pre-drill, you do need to drill, make sure you're over toward that. You don't have to be dead center of it, but close enough. Because you don't want the screw to poke through to the inside of the house. After you drill the first one, you can go ahead and put it in. It'll help hold it in place. Normally I would use my brad nailer and tack this in place first, but in this particular case that would be cheating, so I won't cheat today. There we go. And I have thought this through, but this is the first one I've done, and I am making it up as I go. So feel free, if you think you can do a different step in a different order, use different materials, it really doesn't matter. It will all work out fine. Now, you want to take your pencil and put witness marks on the side here where these screws are. You will learn why later. Now we need to close in the top. And I am actually going to go to the effort of cutting 2 pieces for up here instead of 1. Instead of just doing 1 straight across, I'm going to do this to give them a little extra space here. I'll mark the length that needs to be there. I'll mark it back here. And find something laying about for a straight edge and connect the 2 lines here. There you go. Now, that should give me somewhat of an angle there. I think it'll be, it'll be close. Be close enough. That's all that really matters. It'll be close enough. But before we do cut that off, I want to, again, seat of the pants here. And by eye, I'm just going to guess about where that will be. You can certainly use a square or a triangle or any other thing you want to use there, but I'm really not worried about it if it's not an exact fit. As long as it fits. There we go. Push a little hard on that one, but okay. Now we'll come in here on this one. Nah, that's mine. That's mine. That's mine. If I don't pick that up, you'll eat it, won't you? Watch out. There we go. Now we have a piece here that doesn't look too bad. It's got a little bit of a gap there. But now magically, I've already made one of these cuts. And I can reuse it by taking this piece right here, simply flipping it around, flushing it up. Mark it real quick. And we'll cut it again. Sorry, buddy. It's up laying up there this time. Pine must taste good to you. There we go. Now, this piece, probably way overkill for what's actually needed. But this saw looks used for a reason. I actually love hand tools, and I like using chisels and saws and a little bit of sealant there, or a lot. Now it'd be helpful if you'll mark a pencil there, and one there, and one there, and one there. These are over the screws that are already in the house. Starting to make sense now, isn't it? You put this in, and now don't drill where you've got these marks. And on the kits, again, the roof brace that's in here doesn't go all the way to the ends, so you would be better off just to put a couple of screws right here toward the center, just inside of the existing screws. There we go. Again, we'll put our screws here in. coweling, if you're not familiar with the drills, it's just the torque setting on here. I've got it set low so that it will hopefully stop driving the screw once it gets tight enough. Now we're almost ready for this. We need to roughen the inside surface on the front of this house to give the bats a way to hold on. And what we'll do is we'll just take the end of our saw here and we'll drag it. This doesn't have to be pretty. It just needs to be done. These grooves gives the bats a way to hold on to the house. Brace it against me here and pull. And you can try using a screwdriver, or there's several ways to do it, but the saw works fine. And that should be good enough. And you probably want to use sandpaper or a block of wood or something to rake these out. I've got pretty tough, old, calloused hands, so these chips don't really dig in or anything. But if you're not used to that, you could get splinters in your hands. But a block of wood. There you go. And again, doesn't matter if they're a little bit in there. Now we need a passage hole, and what we're going to do for that is a 1.5 inch hole. 1.5 inch is kind of the agreed upon research based fact that all bats can squeeze through that 1.5 inch hole, the roosting colony type. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put in one. It's not really ultra important. They'll be able to get through. Let me set my drill torque to drill and not drive. And when you get almost through, again, lighten up on the pressure. It'll there we go. Now we have the back finished and ready for the front. And if you're wondering about the designs of our houses and all, I actually designed them completely. Our commercial houses, our kit, sit down, draw it, put it in the computer, design it, put it together the first time, make adjustments. You'll notice on our commercial houses, all of the screw holes are pre-drilled. Well, that all didn't just magically end up in the right place. When I did the first revision, I started doing single chamber houses. The screws weren't offset enough, and you were driving screws from the front into screws at the back. All of those are design considerations, but what you're seeing here, this actual process, would be a step that I take when designing a new type of bat house. So if I do end up taking this idea and turning it into a kit form, in other words, I would create a 3-chamber bat house kit, this would be part of it. I would do this. I would have to do this. This helps me understand what's happening, what the issues will be. I can think of different ways to achieve the same thing easier. Now, We have that one ready, caulked up, ready for the front house. Now we take the house that's going to be on the front, and we need to prepare the back of it just like we did that one. First thing that we're going to want to do is kind of, just to save a little work, is roughly mark where we need to put grooves at. We'll come over to there, we'll come up to there, and down to here, here. And it's not a problem to run the grooves out. It just saves a little bit of effort and work, and you don't have to go all the way out to the edges. And we repeat the same process that we just did on the front for the back of the house. Here we go. These grooves need to be fairly consistent, no more than an inch apart. But 3/4 of an inch to an inch apart is plenty. And what we'll do is we'll just take the grooves all the way down the landing board here. There we go. That's rough enough there. And again, we'll do another passage hole into the front of this house. And here we have the back of the front ready to go on. What I'll do here is clean my table off a little bit. Now we're ready to put the two together. This one here. Put this one right on top of it. And just line it up by eye. And I'll show you how to take care of the gap in the roof here in a moment. Do something a little artsy on it. And if it doesn't line up perfect, it's not a big deal. It's all going to work out when we get done here. Now, remember you marked the side here to show where those screws were. Again, that's so that you don't drill and try to put a screw right on top of an existing one. The caulk or the adhesive that we put in is going to act a lot like a glue, so we don't need a tremendous number of screws along here. And we also don't have to worry about the sides on the house as much, because we have this full 1 inch down here to hook onto, 1.5 inches. And up here, when it goes through, it's not going to harm the bats. These threads aren't sharp. That's not something that's actually going to harm or cut them. It's the tip that you have to worry about. If you pre-drill and you leave the tip sticking through, that's a problem. But if you go all the way through, they're not going to be affected by the threads on the screw. So we can actually move a little bit to the inside when we do this. And what I'll do is I'll line this up, make sure it's good. Just drill through. And I may need to get a longer bit and pre-drill this. Pine is fairly soft. In fact, I'm just going to do that. So let me add. You'll need a small 1/8 inch bit, maybe a little smaller bit. I'd recommend it. We would probably be okay without it, but I'm just not going to take that chance. we've gone to all this work together, and this little board down here, if it splits, then it's not going to be fun. So all you're doing is you're making sure that it's giving it a good bite in. And we can even move the bit out a little more. Yeah, that'll be good. There we go. That makes me feel better. We'll do it that way. Of course, now I'm bit swapping a lot here. And just flush to the surface. Wanted to get that one in because it holds it together. Now I don't have to worry about it sliding out of alignment too bad. We've got this corner aligned. We'll move on now, and you notice the house still moves. Pivot on this point. So if this alignment is good, we still have the opportunity to tweak the rest of the alignment. What we'll do is I'll put the next one here straight across from it. We'll pre-drill this through. There we go. Okay, and what I will do is I'm going to put the rest of these screws in, and then we'll talk about the roof here. Okay, we have the screws in the front. I just did 6 of them straight across, again avoiding those marks on the side. And now we need to look at this gap in the roof. Now there's several ways that you can do this. If I were going to do this as a kit, of course this would be completely redesigned, or if I were doing this and I had my shop available, I had the scrap, I would just cut another plywood roof that was this size and put it right on top of this. But I'm trying to make this something that someone with limited availability of tools, limited availability of resources would be able to put this together and make it work. And what I want to do is actually use the 1x2 that I have around here. Here it is. And I'm going to secure it like this. Cut 2 pieces, straddle them on it, and caulk it, and then you can paint over that. Something else that you could do is we could simply fill this with caulk, and you could put shingles on top of it when you were done. You could simply put shingles over it, make sure that the gap is covered. Again, we did put those full pieces in there, so it's not going to pour through. But I've got the wood, it's here, and I don't know, I just think it'll look interesting. I may not like it when I get done, but I've decided that's what I'm going to do, so that's what I'm going to do. So first we need to get an idea here of what lengths to make it. And I'm even going to try to put a peak on it. Probably shouldn't, but and any gaps we'll fill it with caulk. There we go. Take this here, put it right here. Now we've got the low side, or the shorter side, right on the peak, and we'll draw us a line under here and mark this one. I'm just going to cut this square. Test fit it here. Looks pretty good. And we'll test fit it on the other side. I don't really expect it to be exactly the same length, and it's not, but it's okay. So, I'm actually going to make the other side just a little bit longer than this one. Make sure we get enough hangover. Put that there. And we'll clamp that down good. So put a little bit of downward pressure on it while I'm cutting it to keep it from pinching, not so much that it snaps off. And then this is our leftover. Now take this and this one, and I'm just checking them here to see how they do. They seem to be fine. Again, doesn't have to be perfect. And hey, give me those back. You shouldn't. No. You shouldn't be eating those. You need to brush your teeth. Your mouth is wet. Okay. Now, what I'll do is goop up the bottom here real good. These are the short sides. Getting the goop on them. And I will goop up one side here. And a better solution would probably just to be to do the shingle over thing, but like I said, I want to see this. I think it'll look good. It'll look different. And that's the key. Feel free to experiment and have fun with it. When it comes to time to paint it, feel free to paint it whatever color. The shade is what's important, not the color. This I'll do is center this on the seam between the two houses. I actually had a little far back. That's about right. Push them up together. And all I'm doing now is securing these top pieces on, and I've already done this one. Come over here, use it to align the top, and what you can do is use the shorter screws here, and we'll pre-drill a little bit toward the front to make sure it's going into this front roof panel. We can adjust the bottom again. Then the center one, turn it so the camera can see it. See how I drilled it there? I got two in the front. One will grab the roof panel on the back there. And there we have it. Again, I had the material, I just thought it would look interesting. That's why I put that up there. Not a requirement. You can cover that with plywood. You can go get shingles. A lot of the home improvement stores will sell them a single shingle at a time. Get you a shingle and just cut and put it up here after you fill the gap with caulk. And that's how you take a set of single chamber kits and turn them into a 3-chamber house. It's ready to caulk up any gaps that you find, clean it up, get it ready to paint it, let it dry, take it out and hang it. Hope you enjoyed it. If you got any questions, let me know.